we couldn't make any money. So we decided to make a sign, and we stood on the, at a freeway exit ramp and held up our sign, homeless, please help. And we made a lot of money. Now, I know this sounds great. James Franco dropped out of college and he got to go panhandle. But my point is, I wanted to be the best actor that I could be. I wanted people to say, oh, he's crazy. Oh, he goes to such extremes. And it worked. You know, I've made a living at it. Now, I'm sure the school's thinking, whichever student decided to get this idiot for the speech, we should put that student in jail with blame. Where the heck is Steve Jobs? Let's get him next year. But there's one thing I can talk about that Steve can't, and that's what it's like to be a Pali graduate. Pali's a good school, right? It is. It's rated as one of the top 100 public schools in the country almost every year. Although I do remember reading John Grisham's The Pelican Brief in my sophomore English class, so I hope that's taken off the syllabus. But basically, you have a great start just by having attended this school. Last Thanksgiving, I had my 10-year reunion. So I thought it might be informative for you to hear what people are doing that came from the same place that you've come from. A bunch of them are finishing their PhDs, which is excellent. When I was here, I was on the Campanile. I was probably the worst reporter, but two of the best reporters are now working with children. One has a program that helps underprivileged children write their college essays. Another has a contest that has kids write stories, and they team them up with established directors to help turn their stories into films. One of the chief editors of the Campanile, she went to Harvard, is now living in London as a freelance writer. The prettiest girl in my class is an editor of Jane magazine. Her boyfriend at Pali, who I thought was the coolest guy, who I would have been like if I knew how, is selling pharmaceuticals in Missouri. Two of the biggest partiers in my class are still in the Bay Area. One is a real estate king in Menlo Park, and the other is an accountant. My closest friends, one graduated Carnegie Mellon Art School and is now apprenticing to be a portrait painter. One is living in Japan, teaching English. One who played in many bands at Pali, who I listened to for hours in his band's basement, is now playing with a Canadian band called Hot Hot Heat. And another is a commercial airline driver. Now here's a little warning. My most troubled friend got into drugs. He was diagnosed as a schizophrenic, and a few years after high school, he ended up killing himself. Another guy in my class overdosed on heroin. It was a shock when it happened, and it was horrible. So I hope none of you follow their examples, please. Now here's where it gets interesting. There was a guy who probably caused thousands of dollars of property damage to Palo Alto when he was in high school. It's not plain. At the time, I would have said that guy was going nowhere. I know you're probably a good guy, I've read you're a good guy, but this guy, my friend, left Pali and he went to a junior college. He then transferred to Berkeley, where he did a thesis on James Joyce. Then he attended AFI, one of the top film schools in the country, and now he's getting ready to direct his first film. The best success story to come out of the reunion is my friend Danny. He was a smart kid who had absolutely no focus in high school. When we were 13, he got us thrown out of water ski camp for throwing a girl into the lake during a campfire. And then by coincidence, one of the counselors of the camp was refereeing one of the varsity girls' volleyball games at Pali. And Danny had the great idea of going to Town and Country and buying eggs, and he pelted him in the gym during the match. And he was banned from sporting events for the rest of the year. You know, it's nothing like flipping a car on the deck, but he did other things as well. So he was lost. He was a lost kid. He went to UC San Diego, and something happened to him. He decided to apply himself. He transferred to UCLA, a school that he couldn't get into after high school. And because of his record there, he was chosen among 12 people to attend Oxford on some kind of special scholarship. A Marshall Scholarship with Chelsea Clinton. This year, he just graduated from Harvard Law. He's working in a law firm in Boston. Sounds pretty good to me. So there are 2 points to these stories. The first is, whatever has happened in your life thus far is not decisive. If my life had been based on my performance at Pally, I'd be in bad shape now. I think 5 arrests was conservative. I think it was more like 7 arrests.